Hi and welcome. I'm Kassia with Intuitive Insights. On this channel, we discuss everything to do with the Ascension process. Today, we're going to be discussing the second of 3 conjunctions of Jupiter and Pluto. And this conjunction is exact and happening as I record this video on June 30th, 2020. So we're in the energy right now. This is very exciting stuff. I'm going to attach links below that I definitely encourage you guys to check out. I'm going to attach a link that I did for the original Pluto-Jupiter conjunction that covers the whole series of conjunctions and just the energy that I was feeling for that at the time. And we're going to be touching on some of the stuff that came up in that video, which is why I recommend it. I also recommend watching it just because it's so interesting to see how the things that were discussed in that video have played out since that video was recorded. You know, we were going through the coronavirus and all of that stuff when I recorded it, but the different social justice movements that we're seeing happening right now, the Black Lives Matter, all of that, all of the attention that all of these issues in our society are receiving wasn't happening, and now it is. And it was really eerie actually watching and listening to that video and thinking of all the things that have transpired since then, and how these planets and the relationships that they have to each other, how that really influences and impacts the energies that we experience here on Earth. It's so fascinating. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. And also, if you find that interesting, go back and look up in our playlists. You look up astrological videos, or you'll be able to figure out, I'm not sure exactly what the tag is. It's something like that, right? Astrological Ascension energies. I also did a video on the original Saturn and Pluto conjunction, which happened back in January. And so that conjunction I see as connected to these 3 conjunctions of Jupiter and Pluto that we're experiencing now. It was sort of like the catalyst that set all of that off. So I haven't rewatched that video yet, but I really want to. It's a lot of the same themes that we have going on here. You know, we're talking about Pluto, right? So we're talking about power, we're talking about authority, we're talking about wealth, we're talking about just the different ways that power is used and abused, and the ways that we can step into our personal power. We're talking about the shadow, all of this different stuff, right? And with Jupiter, we're talking about faith, we're talking about expansion, we're talking about belief systems. And these planets are in the sign of Capricorn, which is the sign of authority. It's the sign of the physical world. It's the sign of ambition. It's, you know, all of these things. So we're seeing all of these world structures, right? These societal structures, and how those are crumbling as people begin to question things, as people begin to wake up, as people's own morals and values are called into question. And yeah, it's really, really fascinating. So I encourage you guys to check out the videos that I have linked below. I encourage you to check out that original video as well, if that sounds interesting to you. Actually, I'll just link all 3. So feel free to browse through those. The third video that I'm going to include is the 444 portal video, because I see these conjunctions of Jupiter and Pluto as they're part of that, the unfoldment of those activations from the 444 portal. So that's very relevant as well. We had the first Pluto-Jupiter conjunction happen on the 444 portal. And this was a major world event. We had a huge mass meditation that went on as well on that day. I don't know how many people participated in that, but millions, if not billions. I mean, that energy was huge. And we had a major activation happen for starseeds, light workers, just the general population sort of being brought more into this ascension process, like that process really kicking off for a lot of people that maybe hadn't fully noticed it yet, or been experiencing it in a way that really resonated with them, or that they really noticed as anything out of the ordinary. Like that activation happened for us. And so we're seeing that deepening and that grounding in of that activation now. And yeah, so those links are going to be really helpful for people who want to understand this energy better. What we're going to do for this video is I'm going to read a little something that I wrote out, just because it's easier for me with Mercury in retrograde, with everything going on right now. It'll be a lot simpler, and that to just read through that, and then maybe anything that comes up, I'll discuss about that. And then we're going to just pull some cards and get some advice for the general energy. that we have going on right now, because it is very potent. It can be very heavy, right? Like we're talking about Pluto and Jupiter, and we're talking about our beliefs, we're talking about our empowerment, we're talking about our shadow. So it's heavy, intense energies that we are purging, but we're purging them to make way for these beautiful, beautiful energies that are trying to come in and have been coming in, and are really, as they're taking root in our systems, more and more of that energy that doesn't work and doesn't resonate is being released. And so it's just this super intense, super beautiful process that's going on right now. I know I always say that to you guys, but it is like, it's all so beautiful. So I'm going to read that and then what I wrote, and then we're going to go from there. So the external world stage is causing us to dig deep internally and decide what we truly believe, what we truly stand for, and what we are willing to fight for. Our inner world is mirroring what is going on in the external world, and as we transmute these energies internally, we are helping to transmute them for the collective. As we are presented with an increasingly false narrative of reality, our inner compass is activating. We are being forced to look beyond what we are being shown and feel what is real. This is a real test of our ability to rise above outer circumstances and act from a place of true faith and conviction. To see how we can act as the magician, transforming outer circumstances and transmuting energies. We are learning at this time how to bring our shadow into the light and integrate it. This is true power. We have been grounding fifth and sixth dimensional energies into the physical and ethereal body since the first conjunction on the 444 portal. And these activations are taking root. We are purging on a deeper level as this happens. Deep primal fears, both of our darkness and of our light, are being highlighted. Ancestral fears and past life fears are also coming up to be cleared once and for all. Much of this is happening through the physical body, so many of us are experiencing this not only as an increased level of anxiety, but as literal physical blockages. Some of us are clearing 3D ailments for our entire ancestral line. Issues and traumas being cleared have to do with power and powerlessness, sexuality, faith, abundance, self-esteem, belief systems, mortality, loss, and betrayal. By addressing these issues and any past life or collective fears surrounding them, we are moving into an ability to utilize our gifts on a much deeper level, for we are releasing everything that has stood in the way. Anything that came up for us during or around the 444 portal is being looked at again from a more internalized perspective. And this is more internalized because these planets are meeting up this time in retrograde. They were direct during the first conjunction. They'll be direct during the final conjunction in November. But for this one in the midpoint, it's a retrograde conjunction. And so it's really taking everything and bringing it inside. So we have a lot going on in the outside world, but we're experiencing that internally. It's very much that internalized process that we're going through right now. We're getting a chance to look at everything from a different perspective, right? That's what the retrograde energy is all about. It's about revisiting things from a different perspective. We are seeing where our perspective has grown and where we are still operating from a place of limitation and lack. Our light bodies are being recalibrated and infused with fifth and sixth dimensional codes. Saturn is routing in these high vibrational codes, helping to physically infiltrate the matrix, and Pluto and Jupiter are amplifying and conducting this energy. Our physical bodies are being altered and enhanced to allow this light to take root and fully ground in. Our lower chakras are being recalibrated and realigned with our upper chakras, transmuting lower vibrations and feeding our higher chakras. Our bodies are learning how to transmute and use lower energies for fuel and spiritual growth. In this way, we will literally be able to absorb the lower frequency energies and use them to produce more light, similar to how trees utilize carbon dioxide and turn it to oxygen. As those who wish to control feed lower vibrational energy into the collective, this is a huge advantage. We have been acting as satellites and grounding structures for the light coming in from the higher dimensions, and now we will also be acting as transformers, utilizing the lower vibrational planetary energies and creating more light from the ground up. With the 444 portal, Our potential was activated and our light was turned on, so to speak. We have been purging and making room for this light to take root and emerge into our consciousness. This is now beginning to take place. We are expanding. You can relate the necessity of this gradual awakening and expansion to a dimmer switch connected to a light bulb. If you turn a light all the way on at first, you are blinded. But if you do it gradually, your eyes have time to adjust. Naturally, as this happens, more shadows are revealed, as more is being illuminated by the light. This is not a process to fear, but a process to embrace, for the shadows were there all along. Our witnessing of them is what allows them to transform. And so this, I think, is a key energy as we're going through this process right now. This is, I think, the greatest thing that we're receiving from this second conjunction. And from this whole trilogy of Pluto and Jupiter meeting up, right? Is we are learning how to become those transformers. We're learning how to transmute energy. We're learning how to utilize that shadow energy and integrate that energy and use it to our advantage. We're becoming more whole and we're becoming more powerful because we're able to embrace that shadow. And so I think this is a really interesting kind of like turn of the table, so to speak, right? Like we don't get into this a lot on this channel, but there are most certainly, at least from my perspective and the reality and the truth that I perceive, forces out there who are seeking to slow the awakening process, who are seeking to keep people stuck in this very limited confine, right? This limited understanding, this limited consciousness. And so a lot of what we see in the world it's a reflection of our own shadow, collective shadow being purged, right? But it's also information that is put out there for the purpose of keeping us in that fear mentality. It's all of that lower vibrational energy that we're being fed constantly, right? And so now all of a sudden we're able to take in that energy. And I mean, this is something we were able to do the whole time, but we're really stepping into our ability to do this. And we're taking in that energy and then we're transforming that into more light. So it's really just fuel for our fire at this point, which is really amazing. And so it's this process where we're learning how to do this, where we're learning how to take in this energy and transmute it and turn it into something else. It's that process of alchemy, right? It's spiritual alchemy. And so yeah, it's just really, really incredible and really exciting. I did this crazy meditation last night. I was asking if there was any more information on this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction that Spirit wanted me to have to give to you guys. And instead of giving me information, I mean, I added a little bit to what I just read afterwards. So they gave me some information, but mostly they just gave me an experience. And it was really intense. It was, my legs were twitching, my whole lower body was twitching and shaking, and I could feel, it was like, I could just feel light really like pouring in. It was like it was pouring and sinking into all of the pores in my body. Like I was just being infused with this light. And I could feel, energies sort of morphing and moving around my head, around the sides of my head, right? And just, I don't know, there was a lot of really crazy intense stuff happening. And then I think that I spent some time in the fifth dimensional energy. And at first I equated it to the angelic realm because I do a lot of work with the angels and that it had that feel to it. But I think that is the fifth and sixth dimensions are the realms that at this point in time, from my perspective, as I see it right now, that I feel like the angels resonate at. So maybe it's all maybe one and the same, right? But I was in that energy and it was just so beautiful. And it's just like, as all of these changes are occurring, we're going to be able to tap into that energy more and more fluidly and more easily. And that's just absolutely, like, that's such exciting stuff. It was so beautiful and just a really fascinating, it's a really fascinating process that we're going through right now. And I definitely have been feeling this. I don't know if you guys have been feeling this. It resonated, the information about the lower chakras being recalibrated, because I have been having so many issues with my digestion, with my stomach, with all of this lower chakra stuff recently. And really, I mean, that's where a lot of these energies are rooted, right? Like we talk about our sense of faith, of trust, power, survival, right? all of these energies are located in those lower chakras. So we're really like purging and releasing all of this. A lot of our ancestral energies are held in our lower chakras, right? Our lineage, all of that. So yeah, we're just completely transforming and purging that energy. And like those chakras are, I'm not even sure, they didn't give me any in-depth information about what this realignment or recalibration looked like, but I can definitely feel it happening in my physical body. And just the fact that they are, like our physical bodies are going through so many changes right now as we are being equipped to handle this light. And so, yeah, I resonated with that information when it came through, and I don't know if some of you guys have as well. You know, I apologize, there haven't been a ton of videos lately. I've been purging so much energy and also just so tired and needing to rest. And sometimes when I lay down to rest, I consciously seek out that connection with my angels and my guides, and you know, these beings in service to the light, and I ask them to infuse me with their light as I sleep, and I just really set the specific intention of absorbing and integrating those energies that they're offering. And so that's something that some of you can do as well to really, I think it helps me feel a little more productive when I'm napping, to know that I am taking part in that process, like actively playing a role in setting the intention for that process. I think it's happening no matter what. You know, like sometimes I get really into the energies of these, like feeling into and doing something for the energies of these astrological events and portals and different things. And sometimes I'm just present and I'm just here, and sometimes I just sleep, and I know that like whatever I do on any given time is what's appropriate for me at that time, and it's totally okay and it's totally perfect. And we're always receiving, all of this happens on an unconscious level, so we're always receiving these upgrades, we're always receiving this energy, whether we're trying to consciously participate in it or not. So however you're being drawn to do that right now, just do that. If you're being drawn to just be in your feelings and really feel and experience whatever's coming up for you, then that's absolutely perfect. You may be seeing some of these patterns playing out in your life. You may be noticing situations that are triggering some of these aspects, some of these unconscious fears that are coming up within you. You know, we talked about how like we're transmuting the energies for the collective, right? So we have all this insanity going out in the collective as the collective shadow is being revealed. And as we're watching this unfold, it's triggering things within ourselves, right? So we talk about as within, so without, but it's like that mirror goes both ways sometimes, right? And so we're watching what's going on out there, and it's triggering this internal process for us. It's making us question a lot of things, right? And really kind of find our footing all over again. We're in this heavy energy right now of like ego death, right? And so that can be really scary. We talk about this all the time, where we're losing the person that we thought that we were. We're not feeling connected to that person anymore. We're questioning so many things about ourselves, about what we believe, about the world, right? And our place in it. And so that can be a scary process, but it's just really comes down to like, what do I resonate and what do I not resonate with anymore? If I don't resonate with something anymore, what is the fear of letting that go? Because I don't know what exists on the other side of that. Probably something better and more things that I do resonate with. So it's just allowing ourselves to go through that process and to release those aspects of ourselves that were never really us in the first place. They were something that we identified with, but that wasn't us. If it were truly us, we wouldn't be releasing that right now. Because what's truly ours can never be lost. Who we truly are, our identity as a soul, that can never be lost. It's all this outer conditioning stuff that we're losing right now. And so just really keeping that in mind and knowing that as we become more unfamiliar to ourselves, that's just the ego, right? That's just this persona, this image of ourselves that we constructed based on our past experiences, right? And so when we're letting that go, that doesn't mean we're becoming less ourselves. That means we're opening up that space to become more ourselves. And it's just this ever-evolving journey. So yeah, I definitely wanted to touch on that, and just how I think it's really cool that we're clearing so much for our ancestors right now too, right? we're clearing and transmuting. We're these incredible powerhouses of energy right now. And it may feel the opposite because it is taking so much energy, because we're just learning how to do it. It's making us tired, but eventually that is going to fuel us. So it's, this is the beginning stage of that process, but we're really learning how to do that. And some of us may find ourselves taking on some of this stuff. So it's really important to know ourselves and to continue to get centered in our own energy. And we can ask our guides for help with this if we need to, and for help differentiating what's ours and what's not, because we're taking on this energy, right? So we may be taking on these thought patterns that we're realizing aren't ours. We may be taking on these emotions that we're realizing aren't ours. And we may be taking on physical ailments that we're starting to recognize aren't really ours either. And it's just different ways that this energy is being purged and transmuted. And so as we realize that it's not ours and we disidentify with it, that's how we're transmuting that energy. And we're doing that as a service, not just for ourselves, but for all that came before us and all who will come after us. And they're standing behind us, and they're supporting us, and they're honoring us in this process. So just really being aware of that and asking for their help if you need it, because they are standing behind you. Your ancestors are standing behind you, and they are so proud of you, and they are supplying you with so much love and so much compassion. So, and I heard so much forgiveness. Just forgiveness, I think, is, as we're going through all of these processes, so absolutely imperative. So I think Spirit just wanted me to remind us of the power of forgiveness as we're going through this process, as these traumas are coming up, right? As all of these old ancestral wounds and traumas, all of these wounds and traumas from our own lives, from the collective, are coming up. It's just being in that place of compassion and forgiveness, both for ourselves and for everyone else. And also remembering that anything that was done to me, I have done to another in another lifetime. Like, none of us are innocent here. There is no such thing as innocence or guilt. It's all just a learning experience, but we've all done everything. We've all experienced everything before. So just really having a lens of compassion and forgiveness for that, because we want to stay as far out of the vibration of judgment as we can. And so that can be a helpful way to do that. Yeah. So I think, and I was thinking of this earlier, and I really want to pull some of the mystical Shaman Oracle for you guys right now. For those of you who haven't seen this deck before, these cards are absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my favorite decks. Like, I never get tired of reading from this deck. There's so much goodness in here. The artwork is absolutely incredible. I definitely encourage anyone, if you're looking for a first-time Oracle deck and you connect with this energy when I'm doing this reading, like, I would definitely recommend this as one to try out. So, guidance for the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, June 30, 2020. And if you want more of the information on the exact dates and different stuff like that, check out that first video that I linked below, because I go into the exact dates and all of the different specifics of all of that stuff in that video. This is more just kind of touching base and seeing where we're at and what extra information and energies that are relevant at this time regarding all of that. So, Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, 2020. Okay, we got the mystical shaman, number 38. And I'm just thinking of the ancestors again when I see that. You know, you are the mystical shaman, right? And the traveling between worlds. I'll hold that up for you guys. It says, this is the symbol of the myth maker and storyteller who is neither made of nor defined by the story, right? All those stories that we're letting go of right now. Instead, he observes it, evolves through it, and perceives all aspects of it. In doing so, the mystical shaman represents the ability to dream a new story, a new myth into being. He dances between worlds, wearing the cloak of the world loosely around his shoulders, and sings the world into being. He reminds us to be in the world and travel through it, but not to be defined by it or become too attached to the experience. This is the symbol of true alchemy, for all elements of life have a spiritual aspect and a material one. When we remember this, all manner of miracles and manifestations are possible. When the mystical shaman appears, you're invited to consider the ability to live without attachment. You are called to create and dream your life, to act on inspiration and divine impulse, without fixating on a known story of success or achievement. Can you impartially observe the stories you tell yourself and others? What if you could become a mystery to yourself? Isn't this what we were just talking about, right? Who would you become if you stopped telling the tales that have defined you up until now? You do not have to live in a story that has roots in the past. The way to your most extraordinary life is to become a blank slate and allow the form of your dreams and desires to show up as it will. This is a sign of manifesting a life beyond your wildest dreams. Oh, that is so perfect. So it's allowing all of these old storylines, right? All these old beliefs, all of these old traumas, all of this stuff to come up, but not attaching to it, viewing it, honoring it, and releasing it, allowing that transmutation process to occur. Like if we attach to what it is that we're experiencing, when we attach to it, we identify with it. And when we identify with it, we can't transmute it, we can't release it, we can't let it go because we're pulling on and holding on to that and interweaving that into part of who we are. Instead of looking at something as who I am, look at it as something that I have experienced, something that has taught me something about myself, about the world, about the current way that I'm perceiving the world and perceiving reality. And then I'm free to create a new story. I'm free to weave a new web, to dream a new dream. And that's what we're doing right now, is we are collectively, as we're releasing all these old storylines, we're dreaming that new dream. We're building that new dream. And that is absolutely fucking beautiful. Ooh, and then we have Pachamama on the bottom of the deck, number 40. Told you these cards were gorgeous. And really, if you look at these energies and these two cards and how similar, you know what I mean? With the feather, the headdresses with the feathers, and just like this beautiful, wise, ancient energy, and then this beautiful feminine earth energy as well. All right. And this says, Pachamama represents the unconditional love that the earth has for all her children, including the stones, the plants, the animals, and the humans. She is the goddess of earth, also known as Gaia, who pervades all creation on our planet. Thanks to Pachamama, our timeless soul can experience life in a biological body. The joy and pain we taste during our brief time on earth are invitations to discover the boundless love of Pachamama. You are a child of the earth. Now is the time to eat right, love right, and be joyous, regardless of the circumstances you may find yourself in. Be grateful for your life, your body, and all that nourishes you. Pachamama invites you to relish each breath, embrace your joy and your pain equally, and discover love through both. Let Pachamama know how much you appreciate all her blessings with an act of service such as planting a tree, helping save an endangered species, or protecting the ocean. So this is another thing that's happening right now, is we're all being called to service. We're being called to the ways that we can serve. And it's just this whole process that we're undertaking right now of, we've been talking about this a lot lately, how we are living, breathing organisms of this earth. Like, we are so connected. We're ascending because Pachamama, because Gaia, because the earth is ascending. And so we're so very connected to that, and just feeling into that connection and feeling into her love. Like we talk about this all the time, is bringing the love into every situation and just really connecting with that. Like, we have so much intense energy going on, so much that we're purging, so much that we're releasing. We're releasing to make room for the light, right? But in this process, it's continuing to find that joy, continuing to find that compassion, continuing to find those little moments that take your breath away, right? And remind us why we're here and why we're doing this. Like, we don't want to get too caught up in all of the shadow all the time. We also we need that balance. We need to learn how to play in the light. So it's like we're doing all of this heavy work, but also taking that time to breathe out, taking that time to stand still, right? To meditate, to reconnect, and to really just relish the fact that we're here. Like, we're having this incredibly unique experience right now where we're ascending into an entirely new dimension while maintaining some semblance of a physical body. And that's fucking wild. Like, Pachamama, the earth, Gaia, she is allowing us to have this incredible experience. So honor her. Honor that part of yourself that resides within her. I mean, that's just, that's incredible. That's incredible. All right. And now we're going to do, we are going to do one of these. I love these as well. These are this is the same Colette Baron read. Another one, the Spirit Animal Oracle. I think that's what it's called. Yes. These cards are magnificent as well. So I really want to pull one of these for you guys. And then we're probably going to grab some of the astrology, the Black Moon astrology cards, because, you know, we love those for our astrology related readings. But let's see what advice the animals have to offer us. You know, we're just talking about connecting with the earth. So one of the ways that we can connect with the earth also is to connect with the animals, to connect with all of Earth's creation, to connect with our fellow humans too. To really, there's so much division going on in the world right now. It's finding those places where we can come together, focusing on our similarities instead of our differences, focusing on how we can honor and support each other is just so imperative right now. Okay, that one wanted to come out, so we'll let you come out and we'll take one more. They're just coming out in like kind of sloppy ways today, but we're going to take them. We're going to take them. All right. So we got Peacock Spirit, Let It Shine. And then Wasp Spirit, Sometimes Life Stings. So I guess that is appropriate, right? So this is like honoring your inner truth, honoring your divinity, honoring just like being proud of who you are and really allowing ourselves to stand out, right? This is about letting our light shine, okay? So we're clearing, as these activations are taking root and we're being able to express this energy, we're clearing a lot of those old fears and traumas associated with expressing our energy, expressing ourselves, expressing our gifts in the world. We talk about this a lot. Like, that's some of that ancestral trauma that we're clearing too, right? But a lot of us have had those experiences where we did not allow we did allow ourselves to express our gifts and to express ourselves. And we were even in this lifetime, we were shunned for that. We were perhaps really physically harmed, perhaps killed. We have very traumatic experiences associated with that. And so we're clearing a lot of that energy, right? Pluto is all about Pluto and Jupiter. It's that energy of power. We're calling back and reclaiming our power as we're healing these traumatic instances and experiences of our souls. We're allowing more of our soul energy to fully take root within us. And then we're being asked to let that shine. Like, you can see here, it's like the energy, the light is coming out of the heart chakra. We talk about that all the time, how that's the gateway, right? So when we're talking about love, when we're talking about connecting with people, when we're talking about bringing compassion and love into situations, like, that's how we activate that heart center. That's how we feel into that fifth dimensional energy. It was really funny during my meditation that I was telling you guys about. I kept trying to understand things, and every time I would get into my mind, it was like the energy started to disconnect. But when I just released all of that and allowed myself to be open and back in my heart space, I was like catapulted back into that fifth dimensional energy, and it was really beautiful. So it's that energy, it's embracing that love energy, but it's really just embracing who you are. We're learning how to do that without fear. Like, all of those, whoever it is that you are, your true authentic self is what the world needs right now. And so as we're being more willing and able to do that, we're adding so much magic to the world, and the world desperately needs that magic right now. And that's how that activation really takes root and really begins to shine, and we're able to utilize everything that we've been receiving, is when we step into our true authenticity. And we step into our true authenticity, which allows us to step into our true power, which allows us to then truly shine our light into the world. And then we have Wasp Spirit, which is, it's not always a pleasant journey. Sometimes it's painful. We go through these trials, we go through these tribulations, and it's for our greater growth and advancement. But like, it's not always a beautiful and harmonious process. I mean, it is always beautiful, but it doesn't always feel beautiful, right? And so I'm going to see if there's anything specific for this. I feel like this is about change too. The sting of life may hurt, and you may feel deeply disappointed or even resentful that Wasp Spirit has shown up, but you will soon see that Spirit has something wonderful in store for you. You may well come to realize that being stung led to something far better than you had envisioned for yourself. I think this card came up in another reading the other day. Perhaps behind the scenes, Wasp Spirit was conspiring with Spirit to ensure that you could grow something of value to you. Spirit has a plan, and Wasp Spirit plays a part. Have you ever looked back and been glad your prayers weren't answered because the path that you took led to something far better? Wasp Spirit is a reminder to reflect on those times, for today's sting may hurt, but something better awaits you. Are you holding on to anger, jealousy, or resentment because you got stung? Or could you have just stung yourself by comparing yourself to others? There will always be someone else who is more successful, happier, thinner, richer, etc. Jealousy is the false belief that you can't have what you want, or someone could take away something that was supposed to be yours. Not if you're embracing this energy. If you're embracing this energy, what's meant to be yours will find you. Just had to throw that in there. Let it go and release all those feelings that are making the sting hurt long after the stinger has been removed. Wasp Spirit has woken you up, and now you are called to trust that disappointment can lead you to a better and different path. Align with Spirit now and trust that this too shall pass, and is already doing so. For the pain subsides when you stop telling the story of how much it hurt. I think that's the message here. The pain subsides when you stop telling the story of how much it hurt, right? So it's all those old stories, right, that we're releasing, that we're letting go of, that we're not attaching to and identifying with anymore. We're seeing the lesson, we're understanding the reason, and then we're releasing that, and we're not becoming attached, we're not identifying with it anymore. That story is no longer who we are. We're ready to tell some different stories. Yeah. So I like that. And then let's see if there's anything I want to read from the Peacock Spirit. Come out from the shadows, Peacock Spirit says, and show your true colors so that others may be inspired to express their own uniqueness. Dance as if you remember that you are made of stardust and grace, filled with life force energy and sparkling lights. You are a channel for divine love. Yes, you are. And your dance is one of a kind. Catch the light and help it to shimmer and dance in celebration of your good fortune of being right here, right now. Spirit wants you to be joyful so that others may get up and dance along with you. Yes. Yes. All right. And then we're going to get, just because I love these cards and I can't get enough of them, the Black Moon Astrology cards. All right. PlutoJupiter Conjunction, number 2, June 30, 2020. Guidance and energies. Guidance and energies. And if you guys need help navigating any of these energies, please reach out. I do personal readings. I do energy healing sessions, which are incredibly profound. Kayla does personal readings and energy healing sessions too. If you resonate with one of us, reach out to us for those services. I can't even... They help. They help a lot. Once again, the words are failing me. Like, I can't stress enough how helpful that can be, and how much both of us would be so happy to assist in that process. Okay, so we got solar eclipse revolution number 44, right? Talking about the 4-4 portal. And so, yeah, we had, that's another video I definitely recommend you guys check out, that Kayla and I did about the solar eclipse that just happened. We call the birthing of the new earth, when we anchored that fifth dimensional energy fully into the earth grid. And we have the next eclipse, the final in the trilogy of this lunar cycle. We have more eclipses coming up in 2020. It's jam-packed with eclipses this year. But that specific series of eclipses the finale will be on the 5th. So there'll be a video coming out for that as well within the next couple days. But it's this energy of revolution. We are changing the world. The world is changing. Every time these planets, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, they don't come into conjunction like this and do these dances that they're doing right now very often. And typically when they do, revolution is present. Change is happening. There is no way to avoid it when these heavy hitting planets get together, right? They are facilitating this energy. Like, this is a revolution. This is not just a civil revolution, a world revolution. This is a spiritual revolution that is playing out in the physical world, and we are seeing it playing out in the physical world, right? Everything that's going on out there in the world is a representation of what's happening in this spiritual journey right now. Like, everything is changing. There's so much powerful energy behind this, really amping us on, really continuing to fuel us and to facilitate this process of us changing the world, of us creating a better world. Like, out of the chaos comes creation. And so we're in the chaos right now. It looks so random and so wild, and so it can be really overwhelming, right? But there is such beauty behind the scenes guiding all of it, and it is just this revolutionary energy that we're experiencing right now and it's an inner revolution right now too, right? Everything as within, so without, right? So this inner revolution is reflecting and strengthening this outer revolution that we're having. As each person goes internally to ask themselves those questions that Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn, who is also involved in this mix. Saturn is right now still in Aquarius, also in retrograde, about to move back into Capricorn. And so we may do a video talking about that. Definitely check out those other two videos, like I said. But Saturn is bringing all of that high vibrational Aquarian energy and coming back into Capricorn to join Jupiter and Pluto and just really drive this home. Like, we're looking at all of these structures. We're looking at all this stuff, but we're looking at this stuff within ourselves first, right? We're looking at it within. It's being reflected without. What's happening without is triggering a more internal process where we go back and within, right? It's this constant ebbing and flowing, this spiraling. We go out, we come back in. We go out, we come back in. And so that's the process that we're seeing going on right now. So we're examining our beliefs. We're examining, like, what do I stand for? What do I believe is morally right? What do I believe is ethically right? Like, all of that stuff is coming up with Jupiter's energy as well, right? And with Pluto, I gotta say that all the time. With Pluto and this energy of seeing, like, what we're really seeing right now a lot as far as that goes too is like power and the abuse of power, and how that's playing out in the world, right? How that's playing out in our own lives, and how we can become more empowered, how we can take our power back. And so we're everything. We're having a revolution in so many ways, but it starts with that internal questioning and that internal process, which then gets magnified outward, right? And then we have the South Node, which is life's debts. This is past life energy. These are the past life energies we are clearing, the ancestral trauma that we're clearing. This is the old, outdated, outmoded ways of doing things that we're clearing. This is all the energy that this revolution energy is coming to clear out right now. So we're removing that. We talk about sometimes how right now the nodes of the moon, we have the South Node in Sagittarius and the North Node in Gemini, right? So it's the Sagittarian energy that we're removing right now, or we're moving past, is that that Jupiterian, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, right? So it's that that energy of like, this is how it is, these are my beliefs so rigid that they turn into dogma, right? Like, we're clearing that out. We're becoming more open-minded. We're becoming more willing to listen. We're becoming more willing to see things from different perspectives, right? And we're looking at the way that we've always done things and just sort of like the beliefs that we swallowed because society told us this is the way it is, right? And we're looking at that and being like, but wait a minute, like, why? That's that energy, like that energy of blind acceptance of like, this is what your life should look like, this is what the world should look like, or like, this is what it is and there's nothing we can do about it, so we just have to suck it up and deal with it. That energy is going out the window right now. Like, we're revolutionizing all of that. We're looking at things and saying, wait, but why? But that's not acceptable anymore. We're ready to do something different. Like, that may be the world that you were comfortable living in, but that's not the world that I want to live in. And there are enough of us now awakening and waking up to that fact and deciding and demanding something different, that's where that revolution energy comes in. That is the natural result of enough people waking up and deciding that it's time to do something different. And then we have the 10th house, which in this card says the world, right? And so the 10th house is the house that, it is the house that Capricorn rules, which is interesting, right? Because all of this conjunction is happening in the sign of Capricorn. And so the 10th house is how we're seen in the world. It's in our ambition, right? It's our drive. It's how we want to leave our mark on the world. That's what the 10th house represents, how we go about doing that. And so that's really what we're looking at right now, is like, what mark do I want to leave on the world? What kind of world do I want to create for my children, for my children's children? What kind of, like, what is the world that I want to live in? How do I want to leave my impact and my footprint on that world? And we're really like, what that looks like, what success looks like, what all of those aspects look like is changing too. And we're realizing that success isn't measured by all this stuff that they want us to believe success is measured by, right? Like, oh, you have a nice car. Oh, you have a nice house. Oh, what a nice dog, and what a nice, picture perfect cookie cutter family and all of this, right? Like, oh, you make so much money. Oh, you have a nice jet ski. It's all this outer stuff, right? That looks flashy, right? But that doesn't really, like, we can get that and get that and get that, but it doesn't fulfill us, right? Or I guess I could speak for myself. For some people, maybe it does. I highly doubt it, though. Like, that's not what matters to us anymore. And this is a lot of that Uranus and Taurus energy as well, which is interesting because we do have, at the same time that this conjunction's going on, we have Uranus making a sextile to the Sun and Mercury in Cancer. And so we have that Uranus and Taurus energy that's definitely playing into this as well. And it's like that energy of like revolutionizing all of that. Like, what people are striving for, the way that we want to leave our mark on the world, that is all changing. As the world that we want to exist in changes, so do those priorities. We're also looking at priorities around family, around the home, around all of that stuff, because that is that Cancer energy, right? We're revolutionizing everything. We got Yaw Destiny on the bottom of the deck as well. We're just absolutely revolutionizing everything. But I want to look at the world and see what else, if there's anything else, or the world, the 10th house. But I love how I am feeling that energy of the world with it too from the tarot deck, right? It's just like everything. Like, it's absolutely everything. Yes. Fame at the world at large, ambition. Because the 10th house is a house of Capricorn, it indicates that you are about to put forth a diligent and concentrated effort. The climb and the advancement of your reputation is what the 10th house card means when it turns up in a spread. It also suggests looking at everything as the big picture. Since the 10th house is ruled by Saturn, being required to tell the truth or be honest will have great bearing on how you advance your goals. People will discuss what you're doing, what you have started or are about to make. You may be contacted by the media, become recognized, or at least you will see your efforts in some public form. So this is also about everyone who's standing up in a very public way to express what it is that they think and what it is that they feel and what it is that they're fighting for, right? That's definitely a lot of that energy that I'm feeling around this card as well right now. In essence, this is the primary card of fame and infamy, your legacy, and what you will become known for. It is the house of success and failure. This card will likely tell what will likely come about depending on the surrounding cards and upon the energies that surround you at the current time. Truth and honesty will decide this matter. The universe is supporting you now. What will likely come about depending on the surrounding cards. So we have the old energies falling away, the revolution cards, and then the destiny card. So we're embracing our destiny right now. We're shedding all of this old stuff. We're purging and transmuting all of these energies, and we're stepping into our destiny. But this card isn't necessarily a cakewalk, right? It indicates challenging circumstances that really spur our growth, and we're feeling and we're seeing that energy as well. You know, we are being challenged. We're being called out. We're being forced to really step up. And that's a good thing. That's a very good and very necessary thing right now. You know, Pluto is not a passive energy. Pluto is not a passive energy, and neither is Jupiter. And when Jupiter expands, right? Pluto refines the energies, and Jupiter expands energies. So we have this massive energy of expansion and refining that's going on right now. And then we have Saturn that's just really like grounding in and stabilizing that energy. And I see Saturn's energy really beginning to change as I see all of the planetary energies and what they mean and represent changing as we move into the fifth dimension. Like traditional astrology is going to be, I think, sort of rewritten and adjusted to reflect the ways that we're participating with and being influenced by energies differently as we ascend into this new dimension and these frequencies change and the way that we relate to them changes. So I think that that's going to be interesting as well. So I see Saturn more as this kind of like sort of link that links us to these higher dimensional frequencies and energies as a planet of transformation, right? Kind of like how Pluto is a planet of transformation. I see Saturn, because karma is not going to exist anymore. So Saturn's not going to be the planet of time, space, and karma and lessons and all of that stuff. Saturn's going to be much more, much more about like how we manifest and create. I feel a lot of manifestation energy that Saturn is going to be moving into as we move into this new dimension, and that's going to be pretty cool. Like bridging our creativity and bridging the immaterial with the material is what I'm feeling. But that's a whole different topic and a whole different day. So some advice from the Ascended Masters. We've got Joan of Arc, voice of truth. So a lot coming through about standing in our truth, knowing our truth, speaking our truth, living our truth, right? And then we have, stand strong, focus on your purpose, release the fear of persecution, and speak your truth. So that's what we're doing right now, right? We're releasing all of those old traumas and fears associated for when we did stand up and speak our truth, when we did stand in our power, when we did utilize our gifts and for the betterment of humanity, for anything like that, right? And we're learning how to call back those energies and express those energies without fear. And we have Lady Portia, divine order. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. And the Shenika on the bottom of the deck, sacred self. Unleash your spirit, express your gifts, dance to the sacred rhythm of life. Perfect. Yes. Yeah. So just really, that's when we talk about that internal compass activating, right? It's like there are so many people that want to tell us what we should be doing and what we should be believing and thinking right now, right? And we're being offered all these different narratives, and there's so much contradictory information that if you're trying to go about it just in a logical way, it'll make your head spin. but we're being, that inner compass is being activated, our inner truth, our inner voice. So really we're being asked to learn how to tap into that and to act from that place of knowing. We're moving into an era where it's not about information, it's about that instinctual knowing, right? In the fifth dimension, we don't operate. And I was actually talking about this in a group the other day because it really resonated with me when somebody was talking about the fact that an ascension symptom that's coming up for a lot of people is just like, we're getting serious gaps in our memories. Like, my memory was never great to begin with, and it's becoming worse. And like, this is happening because we don't function from a place of memory in the fifth dimension. We have telepathy, right? We naturally just know things. We're connected on that level to our intuition, to spirit, right? To our own godness. And so we don't rely on that. We don't need that in order to function. And so we're moving out of that. And so we're just moving into this knowing in all these different ways, right? And I think that that's part of too, as we're releasing all these storylines and these old narratives and all this stuff that we were attached to, we're making more room to step into that place of knowing, to step out of what we think we know into what we truly know as a soul in our heart center, in our truth. And so we're being asked to really tap into that and to act from that place. And just again, like, express ourselves, be who we are, that peacock energy, right? That the sacredness of ourself, like having the courage to do that, releasing the fear of expressing ourselves and being who we are, acting on the knowing that is coming through, and then just like fully unleashing that into the world. So that's absolutely beautiful. And I think that that's a great place to leave this video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please like the video. That definitely helps support our channel and help more people find this video, even though all that are meant to find it do. You can, as I said, if you're interested in a personal reading, or if you're interested in an energy healing session, reach out to me, reach out to Kayla. Our information is in the description box below. And leave a comment if this video resonated. We love to hear from you guys. If you want to catch more videos, please do subscribe. Click the little bell with the squiggle mark so that you can get notified when we put out more videos. I love each and every one of you so very, very much, as does Kayla, and we will talk to you guys soon.